And since then, you have seen more of life than you ever thought possible. You are greeted as a savior, a champion, a hero. But sometimes you feel like something else entirely. An adventurer, a traveler, a survivor. You faced down the gods. You thwarted the grand design. Anything seems possible. But before you can write the next chapter of your story, you must end this one.
Thou wert called here, some from above, some below. For with thine bond, together thou hast kept the wheel of fate spinning when it threatened to halt. Though thou wert drawn far apart in the months after the collapse of the Absolute, tonight, fate renews thy bond once more. Thou shouldst take care to preserve it. It is a great weapon, wielded in the hand of good. Go. Know one another once more.
Starting to wonder if you'd show up. Honestly, so have I. Oh, come here, will you? It's been forever. You feel a little more substantial than before. Less camping and scrounging off the land, I take it. Filled out and healthy is what I was going for. Don't tell me you miss living off whatever scraps we found in crates and barrels. I'm glad you seem well. Truly. I had no doubt. But I'm glad to hear you say it all the same. Wandering, mostly. The adventuring life is almost a tonic when you're not constantly threatened by brain monsters and cultists. I can finally see the world beyond the cloister. One of my first stops was the House of the Moon in Waterdeep. It's the largest temple of Selûne in existence. It seemed like the perfect spot to reflect on my parents, on where they came from. And where I came from too, I suppose. Hard to imagine, isn't it? Me, of all people, in the lair of the Moon Witch herself. God, your truest act of heroism was putting up with all that char and drivel I was spouting for so long. Oh, I know they are. I can still sense them, I think. And one day we'll be reunited. Must I? You presume a great deal. I'm joking. Of course I want to know. Tell me all. As am I. It's well deserved, and I dare anyone to argue otherwise. Hopefully these meetups will become a regular occurrence. It's not that I miss the tadpoles, but at least it brought us together. Now we've got to make the extra effort ourselves. I'm sure we will, but let's be proactive about it all the same. We're more than capable. After all, we've faced down bigger threats than wrangling together a few social calendars. Don't be a stranger.
Good wine from the looks of it.
He snaps the air and wiggles. He's either miming fighting a many-limbed creature or dancing. It's unclear. He is, however, exhausted. He's had plenty of adventures without you. The joy in the owlbear's eyes is clear. He longs for a home and would love to stay with Shadowheart.
I've missed wine. Had to resort to making my own cider. You might be onto something there, though the name might need work. Somehow it sounds rude, even though I know otherwise. Oh, twist my arm and break it, why don't you? That hit the spot. Is that so? And what liberties did you decide to take, exactly? The owlbear? Of course I'll have him. If he wants to come with me, that is. I'd have offered sooner, but everything was a blur after the battle. I thought he'd gone to roam free. Are you sure he'd want to join? I'm not exactly settled anywhere right now. It could be dangerous at times. All right, then. It's settled. Oh, the things we'll get up to. Don't be a stranger.
There you are. I was hoping. Gods, I smell like a 70-year-old cinder. Withers yanked me from Avernus with my blade halfway through a Cambion's belly without so much as a chance at washing up. I'll forget all that. By the stars' light and the moon's glow, the hell hunts no... I don't suppose you'd indulge me. You'll have to choose one tale and one tale only. You want to hear about the Amnitsu at the Styx? The three-tusked Orthon? Or the invading Gore? Word travels fast when a devil crosses the Delambir Vale near Daggerford. It had traveled a hell rift to a long-forsaken shrine. It led to an island, and then it charged, splitting the ground. It was the Orthon slowly sunk. Go on. Always.
At the ready.
Ah, soldier. How glad I am to see you again. I'd started to wonder if I ever would. I'm sorry I haven't reached out. I guess I wasn't sure what you'd make of me. I've changed so much. But then again, you have too. Stubbornly yourself, aren't you? I suppose I used to be too. But this evolution has shown me parts of myself I never knew existed. For example, my favorite food used to be mutton chops. Do you know what it is now? Brains, soldier. Brains. True. But I've found ways to maintain my values while respecting that which I am. That which made it possible for me to live. I've made arrangements with a healer in the city. When a patient is beyond saving, but still able to speak for themselves, they're offered a choice. They can go as nature intends to take them, or when they're ready, when their goodbyes have been said, their affairs settled, and all that awaits them is pain, I relieve them. When I consume their brains, I am nourished by much more than the physical nutrition. Their memories, from birth to death, become part of me. I've lived hundreds of childhoods, first loves, marriages, feuds, and friendships. I remember them all. And in this way, we all live on together. Thanks, soldier. It feels that way too. It's been wonderful to see you again. Reminds me of old times around the campfire. We used to think becoming a mind flayer was a fate worse than death. I wouldn't trade my life, this life, for anything. Funny how things change, isn't it? Enjoy the night, my friend. I know I will.
Rat over this any day.
Cool, fresh air. By the living gods,
What a lovely occasion this is.
Well, look who decided to turn up. I wasn't sure our withered old friend could live up to his promise. But here we are. And you're looking more delicious than ever, if you don't mind me saying. Whatever you've been doing with your time, it clearly worked wonders. Of course. I'd be disappointed with anything less. You always brought a wonderful sense of fun to the world. And where better to celebrate our good fortune? An old haunt with old friends. I've taken a turn as an adventurer and hero. It turns out no one actually cares about murder as long as you murder the right people. And apparently I'm rather good at it. Let's not get carried away, darling. I'm still me. Perhaps more me than I've ever been. I did at first. But then I realized these shadows, this darkness, it's all a part of me. I spent too long defined by what other people did to me, the choices other people made for me. But that's over now. This is who I am, in all my glory, for better and for worse. That being said, I haven't completely given up on returning to the sun. If the opportunity presented itself, well, I wouldn't say no. But until then, I am happy. We've had quite the journey, you and I. From the moment I first threatened you, I knew you were someone special. Someone to take on the world with. I will miss our time together. But then again, maybe this isn't goodbye. So much as it's, see you later, darling.
A most welcome sight.
I hoped I'd see you here. I imagine this must be quite a shock. Whatever you're feeling, do not be afraid. Still me, just an improved version. Forget you? Never. The finer points of divine ascension are beyond mortal comprehension, I'm afraid, but I can provide a rudimentary sequence of events. First, I retrieved the crown of Karsus and reforged it using a series of precise and highly complex Netherese incantations. Then, I used it. As you know, the orb within me was the half-formed Karsite Weaver, magic left incomplete by Karsus' self-destruction. I finished it. Using the crown of Karsus, I turned it into a new form of magic, fused with my being, driven by my purpose. And then I put it to work. As expected, Mystra was unwilling to hand over the reins of the weave, so I've claimed dominion over another area which I've passing familiarity. Ambition. I offer them nothing. I inspire them to seize their destinies for themselves. Great as the heights I've reached thus far may be, I've not forgotten my humble origins. In fact, they're central to my doctrine. Those drawn to the Galarian Creator merely seek my guidance as the impressive, all-powerful being I've become. Ambition is about beginnings. It's not just about the heights, but the lows that preceded them. I was nothing. A drifting dust mote of a wizard, abandoned by my goddess, my powers lost, my reputation destroyed. And look at me now. I'm their proof. Proof their hopes are not barren wastes, but the loamy soil in which their future achievements will flourish. Proof that with ambition, anything is possible. Ao would prefer to let the cosmic dust settle from my unexpected ascension before considering my right to grant my followers such power. I'm sure it'll come around in a millennium or so, and by then my creed will be something to reckon with. There are already several shrines in my honor scattered across the outer reaches of Thay, and rumors of a very prominent temple under construction in Arm. This is only the beginning. I see you won't be claiming the domain of patience in the heavens. All in good time, my love. For now, mortality has one more night of enjoyment in store. Haven't you any ambitions, Tara? I could help you, you know?
Well, there he is, Gale in all his glory. I hope you're happy, the god of ambition. Have you ever heard anything more ridiculous? Karsus himself. He and his bloody crown. And you, for that matter. The Gale I knew wasn't like this. He recognized his mistakes. He was contrite. All he wanted to do was live. Unfortunately, he fell into company that turned his gaze toward foolishness. Yes, I mean you. False. He was mine. Though now he belongs only to his own pride. I know there's nothing you could have done to stop him. Not really. Once he'd decided to learn nothing from his mistakes, what use were either of our protests? Perhaps you'd be willing to come meet Gale's mother sometime? She misses him so, and I know it would do her heart a world of good to discuss her son with someone who knew him as he was. See that you do. We'd love to have you. Things have been rather quiet without himself cluttering up the place. Enjoy your party, dear. I've heard you quite deserve a celebration.
Light on my feet.
I'm glad the roads were kind. I'd hate
You would
to
think
have-
someone of my vintage would be inured to the passage of time. Yet these past 6 months have seemed endless without your company. But now, our paths cross once more. We have all pined for each other's company, I sense. I cannot imagine otherwise after what we shared. That bond was forged in a crucible that can never be stoked again, Oak Father willing. It is a bond that can weather any distance, any passage of time. I know it can, for I feel the longing for old friends in my heart each day. I always do. Should I ever decline, assume a doppelganger has taken my place. That was more than worth the wait. That was more than worth the wait? Oh, I suppose you didn't mean that literally. Now, we have much to catch up on. Do not allow me to ramble on. I am eager to hear all you've been doing. In that case, very well. Our community grows rapidly. In 6 months, we have turned what was once a shadowy wasteland into a true home for all. In another 6 months, I would wager the scars of the past will be entirely invisible, even to those who remember them. The old masonry of Moonrise Towers and Rythwin have been repurposed into new homes, and the land is rich with harvests and bountiful trees. Nature and civilization are in harmony, stronger together. In a manner of speaking, yes. Though it is a more complex, evolving beast than I could ever have anticipated. True balance is no simple, fixed thing. I see that now. We welcome folk from all walks of life. Anyone who wishes for a new start. Naturally, it can be chaotic at times, but it is a thrilling sort of chaos. It thrives in ways I could never have dreamed of. As am I. I may age more slowly than most, but I do believe I've gained some new laughter lines of late. Now, please, tell me all, and spare no details. I shall not lie. I have an ulterior motive in wishing to hear all. It is the children, you see. My charges. Their appetite for bedtime tales is great. They have all but exhausted my repertoire in but a few short months. I am all ears. Though I never cared for that phrase. A rather... You have kept yourself busy. I expected no less, in truth. I shall be able to keep the children enthralled for a few more nights yet, thanks to you. And should you wish to retell of your exploits in person, well, I shall not object to a night off. Now, it would be cruel of me to hoard you all to myself for the evening, as much as I would like to. I shall leave you to the others for now, unless there was anything else. I spend half my days in ursine form. The children demand it. I had a score of them taking turns riding upon my back just days ago. I'm glad they are so comfortable with the Oakfather's creations. But they must learn that not all are as amiable as I am. A lesson for another time, though. They deserve some joy. As for roaming, that impulse has dwindled, I must admit. Perhaps because I have found where I am meant to be. Before you go, I have something for you. Just a little keepsake, really. Do you remember how I told you I like to whittle? I made this. Ducks are my favorite, but I thought they were particularly fitting in this case. They are migratory birds, of course, traveling far and wide with the turn of the seasons. Yet, they always find their way back to where they belong. Just like old friends find themselves back in each other's company. Just a token to remember me by. Now, I've taken up enough of your time. Go on. Enjoy the festivities. We can speak again later.
Sorry, it's a reflex.
I never imagined we'd be standing toe-to-toe on this day, in this place. Nothing but allies, I always told myself. A necessary partnership. But in spite of every strained word, every barbed glance, seeing you brings me even more pleasure than taking a royal inquisitor's head. Were it not for you, I might not have known the value of partnership, connection. I found new allies now. New friends. People I trust and who trust me in return. We've heard word of a Githyanki outpost hidden deep in Chult, the last of Vlaakith's Sword Coast strongholds. We mean to slay every last Sarth and Kithrak. I thought perhaps you'd care to join us. Right you are. Not every night is for spilling blood. I shouldn't be so callous as to spoil the quiet pleasures of this one. Now go, mingle while you can. That's the word, right? Mingle? There is plenty of time yet for slicing scalps and tasting blood.
There's something strange in your old friend's mouth. What is it? A familiar invitation. He wants you to throw the object he's dropped. But it isn't a ball. It's the astral prism. He whines. Less talk, more throw. scratch yaps a request you know well. Vet.
The day I pray to you, Gale, is the day up is down, left is right, and Tressim's a cat's.
Withers has a keen eye for a nice
So
vintage.
very stubborn.
Why were we scrounging in barrels and crates for
And
supplies when
don't
he
you
could source
forget
food?
it.
God, I remember one evening when we had to eat 14 apples, some fish heads, and a stale loaf
Mustn't
of bread.
think
just to
about
get
any
by.
of the local brains. Far too tempting.
Good song, good
Boo!
company.
We are not dreaming. It is our old friend. Boo suggested a hello is more traditional. You will forgive the aroma, I hope. We were not expecting the Dusty One to open a portal to our very cell. Boo had a moment to lick himself clean, but there is a little too much of Minsk to cover. Minsk and Boo have been helping, of course. We guard the streets, while Jahira is occupied with harperish matters. The Zentarum rule the city's underbelly, so Minsk and Boo went to give them a tickle. There were harsh words, battle cries, some manner of head wound. We awoke in a Zentish cell, awaiting trial by noble combat. Execution, says Boo, though I am not sure of the difference. It is a long walk to the gallows, and Minsk still has his fists, no? Minsk and Boo agree to disagree. But leave such matters for the morn. Tonight is for celebration and the telling of tales. How have you filled your days since we tore this sticky tyrant from the sky? Pah! Boo does not believe your bitter words. There is much merriment to be made before the night is done. Ah,
Withers has a keen eye for a nice vintage. Why were we scrounging in barrels and crates for supplies when he could source these? God, I remember one evening when we had to eat 14 apples, some fish heads, and a stale loaf of bread.
Withers
just
can
to get
pluck
by.
wine from all over the world, but is there one bottle of fresh blood?
A pity mutton chops no longer hold any temptation. What a lovely occasion this is.
The past made present. I'm glad for it. For this.
The whole gang is here. Wish I'd had time to polish up the horns.
To be a god among men.
Though I'm going to get very hungry very soon.
This seems pretty red, but... Ugh, no, not even close.
Let's see.
This one night is like any other, and yet different. Thou art the savior of Baldur's Gate, until such time it requires saving again. How dost thou feel? I am pleased to hear it. The satisfaction of one's intention is, to my surprise, a rare accomplishment. Enjoy the revelry of the day. Thou deservest at least that much. What indeed? Prick up thy ears and listen. The balance of the world restored. The balance of these lives, mortal and otherwise, brought to account. Hear me, thou heroes, wastrels, friends. I have waited long to tell you these words. It is over. For now. Thou played thy part in weaving the fabric of fate itself, but for every thread you sewed, so did the gods unravel another. Sleep, rest, revel, but be ready. For thou mayst yet be needed. Until we meet again, I wish thee every possible fortune, health, wealth, love, and above all, problems worth solving. To you.
So, it's time for me to return to the heavens. The question is, do you wish to go with me? To become a god at my side? That is for you to decide, my love. Ambition made me what I am. What drives you, we have yet to discover. Your domain will come to you as you settle into divinity. I can't wait to see what you'll become. Then follow my lead. Close your eyes. How do you feel? And that's just the beginning. I have so much more to show you.